Turns out the good doctor and gaming's favorite killer cue ball really hit it off. The same cannot be said for CMP Shells and Sony, at least not when it comes to beloved licensed IPs. This is SVG News.
Let's get down to business.
Dr. Disrespect is quite the showman. He might be a skilled gamer, but he also knows how to attract a crowd thanks to his bombastic attitude and signature mullet. Recently, Dr. Disrespect answered that age-old question, what he would look like without his signature hairdo.
Gasp!
To celebrate the release of Hitman 3, Dr. Disrespect strode into his stream, proclaiming he would play the game on its hardest difficulty and make it look easy. But more importantly, he was completely bold to copy the hairstyle, or lack thereof, of Hitman's Agent 47.
Some say it's Dr. Disrespect's kryptonite, a single-player game on the hardest difficulty and making it look real easy.
Usually, Dr. Disrespect goes above and beyond for his video intros. Take the times he streamed Cyberpunk 2077 and Valorant as examples, but this time he went the less is more route with some simple hair-centric cosplay. However, that was as far as Dr. Disrespect went, since he still wore his trademark vest, mustache, and glasses. He didn't even bother tattooing the back of his head with Agent 47's barcode. Of course, Dr. Disrespect streamed the entire game in one 10-hour sitting, but he didn't live up to his claim of making it look easy, and basically died right out of the gate since Hitman is unlike Dr. Disrespect's usual fare. Then again, he didn't shave his head either. Dr. Disrespect just wore a bald cap and hid his hair under it. So those of you who love his mullet will get to see it again next stream. But even if he had shaved, his mullet is nothing more than a wig, so Dr. Disrespect's full head of fake hair isn't going anywhere anytime soon. The stream was quite the learning experience for Dr. Disrespect, since it was his first time swapping hairstyles on camera. Moreover, it was also his first time playing any Hitman game, so he went in blind. He had no prior knowledge of the game's story or mechanics, yet he powered on through and eventually came out on top, as usual.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was fun. I mean, kinda easy.
Perhaps the next time he plays a Hitman game, Dr. Disrespect will opt for a more complete cosplay, or maybe he will try more costumes whenever he streams anticipated blockbuster titles. Either way, audiences now have a solid idea of what Dr. Disrespect looks like without hair, and he's just as larger than life without his fake Samson locks as he is with them. Earlier this week, CMP Shells, the would-be seller of custom PS5 faceplates, announced that it was officially back in business following a copyright dispute with Sony. But today, that announcement appears to have been a bit premature. The company has seemingly removed its Kratos bundle, a PS5 controller and shell set inspired by God of War Ragnarok, from its online store.
I'm sorry.
Do not be sorry. Be better.
CMP Shells quietly removed the Kratos bundle one day after announcing that it had redesigned their PS5 shell to avoid violating the copyright on Sony's proprietary design. The company also promised that all purchases would definitely be honored this time around. CMP Shells' website still says that while the patent is still pending for its PS5 shells, quote, all sales finalized before the patent is approved are untouchable. That said, CMP Shells hasn't yet addressed the removal of the Kratos bundle or offered an explanation for why it's no longer available. The company also hasn't said whether any customers purchased a Kratos bundle in that period or whether refunds would be forthcoming. The removal of the Kratos bundle comes at a time when CMP Shells has been working hard to re-earn customers' trust. The UK-based company was created in October 2020 to capitalize on the demand for custom PS5 shells. It first launched under the name PlateStation, but then had to change it to Customize My Plates to avoid confusion with the PlayStation brand. But then the company was forced to rebrand a second time to CMP Shells, and in a move that surprised exactly no one, the company cancelled hundreds of existing orders in early November 2020 under pressure from Sony, as reported by IGN. CMP Shells also claimed to have offered more than $20,000 in refunds. At the time, a company representative told IGN that offering refunds was proof that CMP Shells is a legitimate company.
But I'm real! I'm real! I'm real! I'm real!
Since CMP Shells hasn't addressed the Kratos bundle removal, it's unclear whether that was due to a licensing issue with God of War Ragnarok publisher Sony Interactive Entertainment. Any company that makes third-party accessories for video game consoles has to navigate complex legal issues, but trying to sell a third-party product before those issues have been resolved is always a risky strategy.
I'm gonna sue your balls off, man!